some Bengals news. At the Growler, we got you. Hot takes, interviews from your host, Paul Dangler Jr.
All right, welcome into the Rewatch reaction show. Paul Dehner Jr. here, along with, no, not Charlie Goldsmith. Charlie is busy. He's baseballing right now at the winter meetings, just firing. He's already fired off like 3 chalkboards. Get your Charlie's chalkboard. I saw him in Buffalo. He was running out quick to get down to Orlando to get to the winter meetings. He's doing it all. We said, listen, take your time, baseball away. Jay and I have the corpse of the Bengals loss that we will dissect. We will go into it here, Jay, and this one, and it's there's some ugly moments, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, has anybody in the history of mankind ever not run as fast as they could to go from Buffalo to Florida in December? I mean, Charlie wasn't alone in that mad dash last night, but I'm glad he made it down there. I'm glad he's getting the chalkboard updated. I think there's some optimism for the Reds this year, and there is rapidly fading optimism for these Bengals.
Yes, rapidly fading along with their playoff percentages as you keep clicking the buttons on the playoff simulator. Not good stuff in there right now, but we're going to get to that very newsy Monday. We'll get to that on PD&J. So that is coming your way. We'll have full reaction. We'll have Mo, all the things that you look for when we're talking about Hendrickson, the Burton release, the Higgins concussion protocol, the D-flex, all of that stuff. We'll get into that news on PD&J. We're here to dive into the tape of the Buffalo game, and that's what we are going to do. And we're going to kind of focus on defense. You're going to have Al Golden's going to come into the RNA marketing coach's office, and we're going to focus on the 4th down touchdowns and what really, in a lot of ways, became a day defined by putting yourself in position to make the big play and not making it. It was kind of what it was in so many ways, and those plays very much typifying it. Al goes into detail there. We spent 25 minutes with Al Golden today, and going into pretty deep detail of a lot of what went wrong and what happened. We're going to do our best to kind of relay some of what we know to you. I will say to you, Jay, what I always say to Charlie. Where did you start?
Well, I did not start with the 4th downs. I know those were huge in the game. I started with tight ends, and it was the first play of the game. It was a 31-yard gain to Dawson Knox. The Bills, I'm sure the Bengals linebackers heard all week, guys stop the run, guys stop the run, and the Bills knew that, and they exploited it. They come out. Josh Allen runs a play action, fakes the handoff to James Cook. Both linebackers bite as hard as you possibly could, and Dawson Knox is wide open in the middle of the field. And I think this is the right – yes, this is the – you can see, like, at the 42, both linebackers are still, like, way up in there. Al kind of talked about that today. He's like, that's what, you want them to be aggressive, and you want them to know what they're seeing. But when you realize that you bit and you got faked out, they call it radar. And the antenna have to go up, and you have to fly and get back and try to buzz underneath, and it just didn't happen. This was a huge play to start the game. Like I said, 31 yards, and it was a theme because there are 3 Dawson Knox catches that look like this. Here's another one. No one near him.
It's a good thing that they wore their whites and blend in a little bit with the snow, or else it would stand out how far away they are from Dawson Knox in each of these.
This was another big gain, and then here's another one where later in the game, and he's catching the ball right there at the 35, and this might be the most egregious one. There is nobody around him. Hard to win games like that, and it wasn't just that. Dalton Kincaid had a touchdown, although I thought DJ Turner played that about as well as you possibly could. Just a really great throw from Josh Allen. And then what you're going to get to later, another tight end, three tight ends burned the Bengals in this game for big plays and or first downs and touchdowns. It just continues the theme. I mean, this defense, it goes back beyond this year, but this year in particular, this team has been dreadful against tight ends, and the numbers bear it out. They have so far this year given up 98 receptions, 1,267 yards, and 15 touchdowns. The 1,267 yards are the third most in NFL history, and they still have 4 games to play, and all they need is 1303 to break that record. And the receiving touchdowns, 15, that also is the third most allowed in franchise history. Or I'm sorry, not in franchise history, in NFL history. The record is 17. So 2 more in the next 4 games. And oh, by the way, in a couple weeks, the tight end that leads the league in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns, Arizona's Trey McBride, is coming to Paycor State.
Oh man, Jacoby Brissett is just chomping at the bit right now, like everybody is. And we've talked about this quite a bit about what you're seeing. If you prove that you have a weakness in this league, the other team will show up with a pile of ways to exploit it. And in the case of the Bengals, it's rookie linebackers. It's criminal to play 2 rookie linebackers. It's extra criminal to play 2 rookie linebackers who also maybe stink. Like it is debilitating. And every offensive coordinator comes in with this plan. It is by no mistake they opened the game that way. No mistake. Right off the jump, play action meant to make your linebackers bite, get their heads spinning immediately, and it did. Those wide open spaces, Jay, I think you were kind in your little red circle that you put around Dawson Knox. You could have done a much larger red circle around all of the actual space that existed. It was kind of you to just circle the player and not the space on those. But this is what it's been, from Ben Johnson doing all the trick plays to Isaiah Likely being a big part of the Ravens game plan out of nowhere. This stuff happens. I mean, you have Colston Loveland had his big breakout. Of course, he had 118 yards. Hunter Henry running wide open for New England, 115. Do you think when they practice, because usually, you've got to, when a tight end's running a route, they've got to show what they're kind of doing with some of a lean against the guy who's on him and kind of show, work off leverage certain ways that way. Do you think they told the scout team, look, take the day off. We need to practice running routes on air because that's what this is going to feel like for the tight ends, so they can know to make their cuts at the 10 or 11 yard mark on this and not based on where the actual guy guarding you is, because he's not going to be there.
Yeah, they just tell the tight ends, you guys just go over there with the jugs gun. Just work on catching the ball. As long as you catch it, everything's going to be fine.
Everything's going to be fine.
And those guys, so 4 tight ends this year have had their career highs against the Bengals. Hunter Henry, this is his 10th year in the league. He had that 115 was his career high. Another, Pat Freiermuth had his 2nd highest game of his career, and 2 other tight ends have had their 3rd highest games in the NFL, and they've done it this year against the Bengals.
And it's not like this is a new problem. I mean, it's felt like tight ends have burnt the Bengals for years. Last year, they gave up 111 receptions.
Second most in NFL history.
Second most in NFL history for 1,100 yards, a little over 1,100 yards on those. This year, it's been more explosive. And I think that's been the thing. It's one thing to give up a ton of receptions, which they have. That's bad enough. But they've been so often been for explosives. They just do not do a good job of tracking. They bite on the play actions, all of these things that you're kind of talking about. But it's not just tight ends. Let's dive into, before we get to Al Golden in the 4th downs, I want to hit on a couple of the could have been big moments in this game that really end up defining factors. Because Al today, he was pointing out, yes, there's these chunk plays that were probably 5 plays of 20 plus that they give up in this game. And they're 3 of 4 on 4th downs. And we talk a little about that stuff. And some of the plays, you hate to see that drown out what was a lot of great plays to put themselves into the positions. 3rd and 15 into fourth downs, getting third down stops, like stuff that they did to set themselves up for success that, to be quite honest, they hadn't really done a ton of this year. Teams didn't need third and fourth down against them for large stretches of this year. And so to get yourself into that spot, yes, is kind of that, maybe that step in the right direction that we've been talking about in recent weeks, but you got to make the play. And that brings us to a few of the got to make the play moments where they didn't. Let's start with the 3rd and 15 where it ended. So we heard a lot about this play, talking about it with Al today. I'll start here. It is hard in the snow to see it all. So the biggest thing to remember is when Josh Allen drops back here, Al was saying that it was a really weird blocking scheme where they didn't really even execute it correctly. And you end up, it's hard to tell from this very wide angle. Joseph Osai coming in off the top doesn't get him. This is the moment for me here, Jay. Tell me if you notice anything about this, and that is what's happening to me on the bottom of your screen. Let me just go back to the beginning. Watch Demetrius Knight. He ends up covering the halfback out at the bottom of the screen, okay? He's just covering him right there. He's looking right at the guy's face, not looking back at all. How many yards down the field is Josh Allen into this scramble? And you don't even have any awareness at all to the fact, hey, maybe just turn around. Like, isn't the crowd yelling at this point? Is there never a thought that, hey, everyone seems to be doing something, maybe I should turn around, have some eye on the backfield, just a peek of awareness? Instead, you're totally out of the play down here at the bottom of your screen, and it leaves what? The worst matchup ever. Geno Stone in space against Josh Allen, and you know how that's going to end up. And you're never even a factor. You don't even show up till 17, 20 yards down the field. Do you even come back into the picture? And it's one thing for him to get out like this. And again, Al very much stressing how this was a very weird protection that didn't even work right. And the halfback shouldn't have gotten out in this route and a lot of stuff there. But the bottom line is he does get out and nobody seems to have obviously Geno Stone doesn't make the play. The biggest one there is that Demetrius Knight has to have some awareness to look in a different direction and get back. He just doesn't. And Josh Allen using his legs was a problem all day, not just on this play.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. He said the Bills didn't block it right, and you look at Joseph Osai. He does what the Bengals didn't do on the 40-yard touchdown run, where they got too far up the field. Cedric Johnson missed the tackle, and Josh took off. Osai kind of rushes in and then just stops and I don't know if sets the edges right, but he hems him in. He's like, if he's going to take off, it's going to have to go up the middle where they've got people, and there's the lane, and he takes off. And the Demetrius Knight problem is we saw it earlier in the game on one of the key plays that we're going to talk about on the 4th down touchdown pass to Khalil Shakir, where they've got it covered great, and Josh Allen has to hold the ball for more than 7 seconds. And then Shakir breaks off the route, goes in the end zone, and Knight, he doesn't lose track of him, but he has to chase him, and he's got his back to Josh Allen. And Josh Allen whizzes the ball right past Demetrius Knight's head for the touchdown. It's just that rookie lack of awareness and part of the things that the growing pains, I guess, that you have to go through with one rookie linebacker, and especially with two. The odds of one or the other making a mistake on the play are so great. And Al was talking about what the 4th downs were. Two 4th downs were in the red zone, and the Bills scored touchdowns on them. He's like, you fight your ass off to get to 4th down in the red zone. You get 3 stops, you doing everything right, and then they get the touchdown on 4th down, and it's just backbreaking. And there was. I mean, people look at it and say 39 points. The defense was terrible again, but what Buffalo had 18 points with less than or right about 7 minutes to go in the game, and then it just 21 after that because of the turnovers. I thought there was a lot of good from the Bengals defense in this, but in the biggest moments were their biggest problems, and that's why it looks like it did.
Yes, it's a great point. I think on the rewatch, there was more good than I expected to see in there. But again, it's the not getting there all the way. Here's a 4th and 3. So this is early. It's 14-3. Bengals to score there at the top of your screen. This is 4th and 3. They get to 4th and 3 right near midfield, and so one of these 2 4th downs on this play that on this drive, that the Bills were able to convert. This one involves Josh Allen buying time, just as the next one. This would be a common theme in a lot of these. It's inability to contain Josh Allen, and all hat tipping included, right? Like this doesn't even need to be said. Josh Allen was awesome, and this is what he does. He played like a superhero in this game. The stuff that you see Burrow do, the same stuff you see Josh Allen do, played incredible in these big moments. It is understood that this is not easy, and he played incredible. But we have to focus on the Bengals side of this. Joseph Osai is rushing from the top of your screen here. Watch what happens. Tries a spin move and falls. Deion Dawkins is like, I'm going to lay on top of you, do a little like essentially a belly flop on you because it's that easy. But when you do that, here's the better view in the end zone. Watch 58 here over on the side of your screen. When you fall like this, it exposes what was otherwise good coverage and allows Josh to just easily sneak out because you're on the ground. And it buys those 2 seconds he needed for that to get open, because it was generally covered at first. Watch the coverage up at the top of your screen. It's largely covered, and you once it loses track, once that extra 2 seconds ends up happening for Davis to work back to the ball and make the play. And that happens because you decide you're unable to just stay on your feet and try to keep Josh Allen a little bit contained and not let him a free flush out that side. It's not that he's going to get out there, make him work for it. No, free flush to go buy time. It's the margins are small, man, and taking yourself out of a play with a guy who likes to get outside and make throws like that is going to burn you.
Yeah, I think even if Osai keeps his feet, a spin move like that, you've got your momentum taking you back deep anyhow. Deion Dawkins could just give him a shove and run him past Josh Allen, and Josh Allen probably still leaks out like he did there. Just one of those things, the awareness. It's 4th down. Hem him in and make him find somewhere to go. Don't just give him a wide open lane.
One more before we get to Al here, and that is the near interception by DJ Turner. And, DJ has played great all season. And Al Golden was talking to us about this today and saying, he's worked so hard to be good and be elite at the top of the break and to see these throws and read them and get these interceptions. And we said it in the prediction show and everything. Josh Allen at once or twice a game is going to throw it to you. Will they be able to make the play? Jordan Battle didn't. DJ Turner didn't. You watch this play. DJ up at the top of your screen in coverage here, falls off, sees the dagger, and jumps it. Like, to see it, recognize it, that's the next level in his game here, right? Sees the throw coming, recognize it, jumps the route. Got to make the play.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's the difference between great and elite, good and great, whatever you want to say. That's what it is, because it's to be able to have the explosion, to see it, to put yourself in position is the hard stuff. It's the equivalent of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, getting yourself to 4th and 3, 4th and 4, getting yourself to 3rd and 15. It's seeing this and jumping the route and doing it and not being able to finish it off and make the play. That one that, again, we're back into this same spot, that 14-3.
Yeah.
Right. With this, so many chances when they were dominating on offense, the Bills were absolutely on their heels in that moment, reeling and kind of recognizing they were in a shootout and taking chances. And they had multiple opportunities to stick it to them early and put together a lead that would have felt even more insurmountable and really changed the dynamic of the game. And instead, multiple missed opportunities to actually make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones in the moment where you're kind of, good pass breakup. Yeah, it would have been nice to have the pick, but a good play, force him to go to the next down, and then you look back after what happens, and those are the plays that you look at and say that could have been a difference maker right there.
Yep, and I won't pull out the 40-yard Allen touchdown you talked about. On that play, they bring a blitz. They come in after it, and it leaves Deion Dawkins with 2-on-1. He takes the inside guy, which was the blitzer. Cedric Johnson is untouched. He is Dawkins bails on him, and I don't know if it was like the intimidation of the aura of Deion Dawkins that forced him to still kind of stay a little outside instead of just going right at Josh Allen. It reminds me of, when Joseph Osai had that sack where he was just totally untouched, and it's like, okay, anybody could get that sack. Are you going to you got to give guys credit for making the plays when they're there, right? Cedric Johnson didn't make the play that was there. It was a blitz that ended up, the point of the blitz was to get somebody free, and it was him. And he just comes in wide for some reason, and Josh Allen goes right between them. And when you have a big blitz like that on, and you don't get them, well, that's what it looked like. 40 yards to freedom, right? Just all the way to the end zone. You can't. You have to understand what's happening and go directly at the player and make the play. I mean, it's one thing to be like, he broke a tackle, he's Josh Allen, he had to shake me. No, you didn't even touch him. Just came in outside for some reason, despite being a free hitter.
Yeah, and Cedric Johnson's not a rookie, but he's got fewer snaps in this league than the two rookie linebackers at this point.
Yeah,
it's just these young guys making young guy mistakes, and Zach talks about it all the time. Don't make the same mistake twice. I'm willing to bet there have been some mistakes that have been made twice, but there are so many mistakes, and it's at this point it's just kind of building a base, and they're hoping that they can get it out of their system this year, and then those guys come back better next year, but it's costing them games right now.
It sure is. All right, on that note, let's hop into the coach's office, presented by RNA Marketing. You guys know our friends at RNA Marketing by now. Hopefully you've been over to our website, thegrowlerpodcast.com, and you know that they are the architects that have helped us build our brand in the digital space. They don't just sponsor this segment. They're helping shape our future, our digital home. We chose them because we don't just want a website. We want a strategic partner. That's what they do. You can go see their incredible work. Go visit them at ramarketing.com. They built their reputation in the furniture industry, but they're here because we work with them because their expertise isn't necessarily in furniture. It's about building premium brands and driving measurable growth. They can do that for you like they've done it for me, whether you're in professional services or tech or consumer goods or just building your own brand. The RNA playbook is designed to make you the premier choice in your market. I endorse them. That's why I work with them. You should too. They are sponsoring the coach's office, and today coach's office is going to be with Al Golden. And I specifically pinpointed the 2 4th-down touchdowns. The one is an incredible play where Josh Allen scrambles and hits Khalil Shakir early in the game, and the other one was the very ballsy go-for-the-throat play at the end. Sean McDermott, 4th and 3, 4-point lead, decides not to kick the field goal, but to try to go for the jugular, and they do, and they end up getting, you wouldn't believe this, a tight end wide open to help put the game away. We talked about that and a little bit of the close but not all the way there element to this game. Here's Al Golden going through some of those plays. You talk me through the 2 4th-down touchdowns. The plays, I guess the first one is Shakir. I mean, Josh is just doing ridiculous things, but what's kind of your view of that one?
Well, I mean, if you watch it on the 22, we got everything matched up. We got the coverage we want. He doesn't have a throw. Miles felt like he could win inside. BJ covers him. We get him to pull up, which we got everybody plastered. A magnificent throw. And you would hope that we could get a hand up and and make a huge play right there. But it's hard in that area of the field to force teams into fourth down. I mean, you really have to have grit and fight and compete your ass off. And they did that to get them into that fourth down, to get them into the next fourth down, to get them in the, to take the ball away, to get the other third down stop on the first drive. So that was, you got to tip your hat to Josh on the throw. But man, we were draped all over him on that one, and it'd be hard looking back to change the coverage.
Yeah, on the one at the end there, it looked like the tight end just kind of was
got lost,
engaged, and then just fell back, and
yep.
then I don't know if that's supposed to get picked up by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we just the person who was supposed to pick it up ended up picking somebody else up. We really had a good call. We had everything covered. We had the flat covered. We had the throwback covered. There was an over and I think a late leak. And because it was late, we kind of lost it and went to go help somewhere else instead of just staying focused. But I liked, where we were at in terms of the call and the preceding plays that led up to it. I thought they fought their ass off.
Is that kind of the hardest part of it? Is you make so many good plays and you get them into fourth downs. And it ends up being they just they convert however one of 3 or 4 whatever.
3 or 4, yeah.
Fourth downs, and it ends up being the biggest difference in the game.
Huge difference in the game. If you weren't going to get a lot of takeaways, then get another turnover on downs. Then it would have been 1 takeaway and 2 turnovers on downs. That's a big swing in the game. But we need to make another stop. There's no excuse there. One of those, we need to step up and make a stop. And, we failed to do that. And they converted, he converted.
There's Al Golden. And, on the video there of the touchdown in the fourth quarter, you see 3 guys go to the flat. And he wasn't going to specifically give away who was supposed to be the one, whether it was Jordan. It looked to be either Jordan or Dax that's supposed to stay there and keep an eye on that very eligible receiver. Just because he was blocking at first doesn't mean he had to continue that. The rules suggest that he can just go out for a route and turn around. They can throw it to him. And obviously you have one of those guys has to be there. But yeah, just a lot of, again, losing track of tight ends, a familiar story there.
Yeah, because that happened early. One of those big Dawson Knox plays was the same way, where he blocks at first and then leaks out, runs the drag route. They hit him wide open, and it's a big gain. I think it was Battle. Just looking at the film, that he was the one. It would make sense as a safety too. He would be the one there in the middle to take the tight end if he comes back out. Hawes was blocking Oren Burks, and then he releases from Oren. I don't know what Oren's responsibility is after that, if he's supposed to go with him or if he's supposed to rush, because I think that was initially the plan, was for him to rush. That's why he was being blocked. But just it looks awful. I mean, when you get a touchdown in that spot and the guy is so wide open, and then you look and they talk about it all the time, 10 guys doing the right thing and 1 guy doing the wrong thing, and it turns into something easy like that.
This is the NFL, man. Everybody's supposed to do the right thing. Like, it's easy to say it, but it's just those are types of mistakes that get you beat, and there were a bunch of them in this game that got you beat. Reminder: if you or your business, if you're ready to stop tinkering around and you really want to start building a serious professional brand that gets results, you need to talk to our friends and the team at RNA Marketing. They're the real deal. We're trusting them with our brand. That's the best endorsement that I can give. So visit them today at ramarketing.com. That's ramarketing.com. Schedule a consultation. Tell them the Growler Podcast sent you. Let's flip it forward here. It's not all bad. Okay. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. I just have a couple things I wanted to pull out before we dip out of this episode for you. One is this one. Actually, do you want me to do something bad again, or do you want me to do something fun? Do we need a break?
I
Do we
think
need a
people have
break
had
from the
enough bad.
Okay. I feel like we should talk about the pick six, though.
Well, you kind of
So-
have to.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a fun one that I'll get to. We do need to talk about the pick six.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Right.
people. We just do. So let's talk about what happened here. When you look at it here on the all 22, there was even more conversation today about how rare and unique this circumstance was in terms of the Bills haven't brought a lot of corner blitzes this year. They hadn't seen this type. Jamar Chase talked yesterday about how that was the only time they'd brought one from his side all game. It was sort of designed to take advantage of the space over there on that side, and how Benford had talked himself about how he thought it was a run, and his technique is actually not to jump into the air. He's not supposed to jump. He's supposed to just go right through the hip, essentially, for the tackle, but just kind of decided to try to make a play and did. And a lot of what happened here was a combination of things that you don't typically see. That said, on rewatch, the throw is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Joe was he looks, when you watch it, like, especially from the end zone angle here, he just looks surprised to see him. And maybe that was part of it. Like, he just looks surprised to see him, almost like he was like, should I throw it? Should I not? I'm going to do this in between thing. And that's what ends up making it a little bit more catchable. That's hard to catch regardless. It's a great play. Like, nobody's denying that. But the fact that he takes a little bit off of it and it turns into this half shot put thing, I think is the surprising thing. It's easy to say in retrospect now, just pull the ball down and eat it. But that probably was the play there.
Yeah. And I think it was supposed to be a run, and I think he sees him, and when he sees him blitz, he knows that's the hot read, and to try to dump it over there. You think about it, was like 5 some left in the game. They're not going to be able to run out the clock, but they certainly wanted to run sometime. I mean, their mission was to score, knowing that their defense is probably going to give up another touchdown to Josh Allen. They're going to have time left to go down and score again themselves. And you think about it, earlier in this game and then last week at Baltimore, the 2 Burrow sacks were on corner blitzes, guys coming off the edge. And I think he saw Benford peak. Benford talked about that, where he kind of gave it away by peeking in the backfield. And I think he saw him peak, and then he saw him coming after the snap, and he decided he wasn't going to hand it off, and you throw into where the blitz came from. And he just tried to lob it over. And maybe when you're not expecting to throw it, you don't get the right grip on the ball right away. I mean, just look at his form there. He's just kind of, it's like a little shot put. And I just think it all added up to the disaster that it was. And sometimes you do just kind of have to tip your hat to the other team. That was an incredible play by him, but it was weird the way it played out. And it would be interesting to know. Zach was trying not to get into too much specifics. He just kept saying the same thing. Great play by Benford, great instincts. But I do wonder if it was going to be a run play, just the way Chase Brown acts on that play. It was either going to be a run or it was going to be a play action. Like, he was going to sell the run, and Burrow caught Benford peeking and tried to make something out of it.
Yeah, which is part of what makes him good, right? Reading what is in front of him and sees something he could get, not expecting the guy to get that quickly upfield and airborne to be able to take down and play with that, because there was space out there for Jamar to try to do something with it. But inevitably, none of that matters now, because he did make the great play. All right, I got something good. It was just fun. And I think during this game, there was something that happened. I was still looking down, writing, because I was, they're down 2 scores. This is after they go down 2 scores, and I was trying to get through stuff, and I heard just a big but I had missed it, whatever had happened. And going back through it, let's talk about the Joe Burrow rope to Mike Gesicki up the seam to the one-handed snag from behind. This is I love the end zone angle on this, but watch Gesicki coming up the seam here. He right off your screen comes back in. Look at that dart into the one hand. When that ball comes in, watch where the ball comes in. And Gesicki, I mean, look what's happening here. Gesicki coming in, this ball, he is like in the line of sight going, this is the same concept, right? The guy's not looking at you, zip it by his ear hole. And he does. And Gesicki just sticks one hand out and snags it for a ridiculous. I mean, he almost took that thing to the house off the one-handed snag. Just an incredible throw and catch. I mean, this is to rip it. That is a deep ball right over that dude's ear hole to the one-handed catch by Gesicki. That was just ridiculous. There was a bunch of ridiculous plays in this one. And I think we spent, between the touchdowns and some of the other things that are maybe more memorable or notable, they won't get as, this won't get as much run. I wanted to save it for here because that was silly.
And the cherry on the top for a really good game for Gesicki. All the focus is on Burrow coming back, but Gesicki's only been back for a couple games. He's kind of shaking the rust off and getting back in. He had a huge game. He had 6 catches for 86 yards, and that one there kind of kept him alive. Like if they were going to score there, they were going to have to do it in a hurry and get the touchdown before the 2-minute warning, and that gave them a chance to do it. Terrific play. I don't know. I have to go back and watch the TV copy if he had to one-hand it or if he had the presence of mind to know that if he puts both hands out, that trailing Bills defender is going to rake the near hand and it's going to go incomplete. Something to ask him maybe on Wednesday, but that was a really, really impressive play. And it was a huge chunk play that they had to have any chance to get a touchdown before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it was just 2 plays later. They threw the ball up top to T for another one-handed touchdown, which how there was no flag for DPI on that, I have no idea. Yeah,
he had no choice but to use one hand.
Yeah, he didn't have to. He's just holding his arm the whole time down, and T just one hands it as he's got him beat on the throw that kind of bent him back inside. Very reminiscent of the throw Flacco gave him against the Steelers that he slid down for the game winner, where he's got him beat deep, but lets him bend it back inside to go and get it, and he was able to. Just another fun play there on that one. All right, okay, we did it. I know some of it wasn't the greatest. We only had one really nice thing at the end, but hey, we went through the tape. You can see a little bit of what's going on here. Much thanks to Al Golden for spending so much time with us in the writers' room today, and helping us so we can bring you some of that insight here on what went wrong, what happened, and how close it was. It's like it really is, Jay. When you think about it and you look, you really go through it here. You see that you do still see the incremental growth. They just can't get all the way there right now on defense. There's just not enough making the one bit extra, that one play. They were one play away from all of us sitting here right now saying the Bengals are on track to be the scariest team entering the playoffs, right? Like that's what it could have been if they could have made any one of these plays that we just showed you today, but they didn't. So they have a 3% chance. And so it goes. All right.
And I mean, what's more unrealistic, them winning out or because I still think the Ravens and Steelers are massively flawed, and I think the Bengals could get what they need from those teams. But the question is, can they win out?
Can they win out? More about that and all the other news on a very newsy Monday with Jay and I, and we'll get you on PD and Jay. So keep your eyes out for that. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching and for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Rewatch. Have a good one.